The concept of daylight saving time, or at least something like it, was first bandied about, albeit jokingly, by that American sage Benjamin Franklin during his sojourn in Paris in 1784. The idea was included in a satirical essay he wrote called An Economical Project, published anonymously in Journal de Paris. By the time Ben was 78, Mr. Early to Bed and Early to Rise had changed his tune a bit and was inspired to write an essay after being woken up at 6 a.m. by the summer sun one too many times. His article offered the tongue-in-cheek practical plus that by rising at dawn, the people of Paris could save oodles of money by using sunshine instead of candles. He then suggests a variety of methods to induce people who were obstinately attached to the old custom of getting up at noon to instead wake up with the sunrise. These included taxing people who have shutters on their windows, rationing candles, and waking people up as soon as the sun comes up by ringing church bells and firing cannons. Because of this essay, Franklin is often falsely credited with the invention of daylight saving time. But Ben merely suggested a change in sleeping schedules to give people more daylight hours to work with, not an adjustment to time itself. The modern-day version of daylight saving time was first proposed by the New Zealand entomologist George Vernon Hudson in 1895. However, he is rarely given much credit for being the first in this case and is sometimes not even mentioned at all. That's because the person who generally gets most of the credit, an Englishman named William Willett, in the early 1900s led the first major campaign for daylight saving time with an evangelistic zeal that dominated his life. Inspiration struck while he was out for an early morning horseback ride around London. He noticed the streets were all pretty much empty, with most of the buildings shuttered up with sleeping occupants, despite the fact that it was rather light outside. If every April through October everybody turns their clocks ahead by 80 minutes, everyone could enjoy more of the plentiful seasonal sunlight without needing to change their normal schedules. By 1907, Willett published a brochure entitled The Waste of Daylight and blew most of his life savings trying to convert the masses over to what he called summertime. Parliament, though, they turned his idea down year after year, and Willett died in 1915 without ever seeing his pet project come to fruition. On April 30th, 1916, Germany became the first country to enact daylight saving time in an effort to conserve electricity during wartime. Great Britain followed suit a few weeks later and introduced summertime as poor William Willett rolled over in his rather fresh grave. Daylight saving time was first implemented in the United States on this day in history, that's March 31st, 1918, as a wartime conservation tactic. At the time, one of the principal uses of electricity and certain other valuable fuel sources in the home was for lighting. Daylight saving time reduced the need for such lighting slightly. That slight reduction across millions of homes ended up to quite a level of savings on certain resources, so it wasn't actually that bad of an idea at the time. Because of our modern, vastly different energy usage, only about 3.5% of our energy goes towards lighting today, the effect is now pretty negligible. However, it has been shown to be a profitable thing for many stores, particularly those that like to sell products related to outdoor leisure activities. Contrary to the real original intent, most people today believe that the initial idea was to give farmers more time to work in their fields, but in reality, what time it is has little effect on a farmer's schedule. Farmers' days were, and to some extent still are, ruled by the sun and the needs of their crop or livestock, not the clock. In fact, for various reasons, farmers led the fight for the repeal of national daylight saving time in 1919. It's historically actually been urbanites that favor daylight saving, not the country folk. After daylight savings was done away with on a national level in 1919, the practice became a confusing hodgepodge as some cities, such as New York City and Chicago, decided to continue the practice while most other places were happy to see it go. That is, until World War II came around, but once the war was over, it went back to that same mass of confusion. In fact, Time magazine described it in 1963 as a chaos of clocks. Public order was restored in 1966 with the introduction of the Uniform Time Act. This defined daylight saving as extending from the last Sunday in April to the last Sunday in October, rather than letting each region decide the dates. States did have the right to remain on standard time all year round if they so chose. Out of the 50 states, Arizona and Hawaii remain on standard time all year round. So I really hope you found that video interesting. If you did, please do give us a thumbs up below and subscribe to this new channel if you did like it. Right now we're not on a regular schedule, so if you hit that notification bell as well, you will find out when we put out a new video, so do that until we get on a regular schedule. And as always, thanks for watching.